Hi, my name is Angie Huffman. I'm going to be having a show at Hudson River Gallery called Potential, featuring my photorealist figurative work. I have never had a show here before, and I would love if you would be able to join and come check it out. It's great to have my work here locally. I haven't had the opportunity yet. I've lived in Iowa, in eastern Iowa, for about 8 years now, but I was born and raised in the Dallas, Texas area. And I did come up to Cedar Rapids nearly every summer when I was growing up because my parents were from eastern Iowa. And I spent time in my grandmother's mobile home. Once I was able to go to college, I knew I wanted to go get an art degree, and I was able to obtain a BFA from the University of North Texas. And a couple years after that, I realized that I did not want to live in the Dallas, Texas area, and did a lot of research of where would be better for me to live, and was really surprised to see that eastern Iowa is a wonderful place to be. There was a lot more here than I was able to see. The fifth season in Cedar Rapids is a real thing. I've been able to have a lot more time to actually produce work. So at the University of North Texas, I have always naturally been inclined to focus on realism and photorealism. The school didn't really technically teach people technically how to paint. It was more focused on teaching people how to think, I would argue, and it encouraged people to think about creating art that is relevant to contemporary history, and not just because basically every kind of art has been made before. Painting's been made forever. Art in general has been made forever. Figurative paintings have been made for hundreds of years. So the challenge was to find a way to make things a little bit different and to make them relevant and not just keep recreating the old masters or anything like that. And there was a lot of encouragement to actually step away from realism. So I was challenged to find a way to balance my interests with contemporary relevance. And that kind of got me thinking about compositions more, focusing on aspects, settings, views, compositions that wouldn't necessarily be possible before recent history, different cropping, not just having a figure in the center of the canvas staring out at you, just more kind of contemporary settings and modern life, and I've been really enjoying it. So I have focused on more mundane compositions and images, and things that generally people probably wouldn't focus on or pay much attention to, and how there's beauty in the everyday and whatnot that's just overlooked while we focus to getting to our next thing that we have to do and whatnot. And now with all of the COVID isolation things that have happened, I think the work may be relevant in a little bit different way than it was before. Before I was trying to draw attention to something I don't think people had thought about. Now I think it may be something more people have thought about and be just kind of more understood. That you don't necessarily have to go anywhere and do anything fancy to have something really cool happen, or some little light come through the window differently than you'd expect, and things look completely different that day. So the theme of the show, the title is Potential, and I picked that for a couple reasons. Like the thought of the potential of women and children that they have probably innate qualities and abilities in them that may have been overlooked or brushed aside or suppressed, that if we kind of just let everybody do their thing, that they'd probably maximize that potential. I also, whenever I pick the source material, I go through a bunch of old photographs that my family took in the 80s and 90s predominantly, when photography was really cheap and accessible, and also when me and my sister were growing up, so they were compelled at the time to try to document things. And they have lots of photographs that were not traditionally well composed, where people aren't smiling, where there's just daily life going on, that they then apparently decided were not worthy of being framed and have just been left in boxes forever. And when I dig through those, I find gold mines of material that I want to spend my time with and bring other people's attention to. So there's a lot of potential there. The sizes of the works do range quite a bit, and that is because when I determine what scale I'm going to do, this is a larger piece here, the scale is determined by the source material itself and the composition and what size I feel like the image would be able to breathe at best, basically. And I also feel that because the work is kind of open-ended, there's a lot of potential for the viewer to come and kind of interpret it however they naturally do and come up with their own stories of what could be taking place.